What's up, everybody? This is at George B. Thomas coming to you from thesaleslion.com, and I have with me the man, the myth, the legend, the one, the only, smarter than Curious George and faster than a speeding minion at Three Rhino Media. Of course, Don Stanley. Don, how you doing today?
Living the dream, my brother George. Living the dream. I'm excited to be digging into another project and making the interwebs, a more beautiful place.
Yeah, I really feel like, Superman or Batman. I feel like I'm making the community a better and cleaner and safer place to travel as we go through and help these companies. So, not really, but that sounded kind of cool. So we'll roll with it. So today, Don, we're going to look at a company. They're called Consolidus. I'm not going to tell you what they do. I'm really not sure what they do. I'm not going to tell you how they make me feel. I don't even know how they make me feel. But as usual, we're going to dive into this. And why don't you tell me in a matter of like 10 seconds what they do, and I'll try to do the what they feel part this week. How does that sound?
That sounds like a plan.
All right, well, I'm going to go ahead and flip into this website in three, two, one.
You've got a lot of people in a lot of areas.
Okay, so first let me go ahead and pause that video that autoplayed, Don, so the audience can actually hear us talk here. So go ahead. What do they do here?
Well, they say they're a branded materials management best practices company, which I'm assuming I have to watch that video to get a sense of what that means. Obviously the background is grayed out, and if I quickly scan and try to figure that background out, if I were to let that video autoplay, I probably would be like most people and close it right away. But if I were, the thing that I see if I scan around long enough is the looking for branded products. Click here for assistance. So I'm guessing that that's what they do based off of the picture from the video here, and then that line is that they don't just help you innovate, consolidate, and save, which that really doesn't explain a whole lot. But that's what it is. That's my guess, and I'm sticking to it.
Yeah, so first of all, let me hit upon what I'm supposed to be hitting upon, which is how do they make me feel? And I'm immediately annoyed, Don. And let me explain why I'm immediately annoyed, because I have a pop-up video square in my face. It's like we just went on a date and they're asking me to French kiss already, and I'm like, really, I'm not ready for this. This is not me. Like, what is this thing in front of my face? And it's playing music too. And if I had to guess what they do, I would say that they're a construction company and they build buildings in the shape of C's, because that's what's right in front of me is this video with a building in the shape of C's, and each level has the same people in the same place at the same time. It's some type of like time warp continuum vortex thing going on here. I'm really not sure. But all joking aside, right, they deal with products. I can see that. I can see there's cups, and I can see that there's flash drives. Does anybody even use flash drives anymore? I mean, I don't know. Maybe they do. I know people still wear T-shirts, so I guess in a little bit it's relevant. But here's the deal. Let's go ahead and close this out so we can actually see the site. And here's what's funny. Don, by me getting that out of your way, can you tell what they do any better than what you could with the video?
No, there's way too many options. I mean, this is the prime example of the psychology of choice, and the psychology of choice, for people who don't know, says that humans are not great at making selections, and the more selections, the more choices you give them, the more paralyzed they're going to become. And when I look at this, that's what I'm looking at is there's there's a slider that's rotating. Underneath that, there's a ticker that's going, and then there's not a whole lot of white space. So there's so many places calling for my attention for my eye to go that I really, if I hadn't heard of them, or maybe if I had found them via a Google search, if they did rank well, maybe then I would get a sense of what they do very quickly. But I just can't. There's just way too many things calling for attention to let me figure out what I'm here for and how they can help me.
Yeah, Don, I want to do something a little different this week. I want the viewers, and I want you to do this as I do this. I'm really into this thing lately about how powerful words are. And so I want
Hmm.
you to close your eyes and not even look at the screen. And if you're a viewer watching this episode, close your eyes, and I'm going to say a couple things, okay? And with your eyes closed, I want you to tell me what you think I'm describing. And so if I
Hmm.
say the words custom site, brand management, creative services, advanced technology, what do you think I'm describing?
A web design company or a marketing
Absolutely.
company.
And Don, if you open, and viewers, if you open your eyes and you look at the left navigation of this website that is about branded materials, it's about things that you can buy as a company to give away as kind of tchotchke items. Their wording is custom site, brand management, creative services. So immediately I'm confused. Are you a web development company? Or are you a company that
Hmm.
innovates, consolidates, and saves? I don't know.
Yeah, and that's a great point. I mean, words do matter big time, and I think uh, one you don't want to have as many as there are here, but you're spot on. I mean, you look at those words and you get a sense immediately of good, they can help me develop my digital marketing strategy. Because a custom site, well, that's going to be a custom website. Brand management, maybe they're going to manage my social media networks to make sure that my brand is out there in front of people in the right way, that the creative services are going to be able to design them. Advanced technology, hey, that must mean you're using responsive and you're up to date on the latest and greatest technologies to make sure that I'm doing everything I can to appear the right way, SEO techniques, etc. And there isn't any of that
Yeah, yeah,
that they're doing. That really isn't what they do.
yep. So Don, let's dive into the things that we, and I hate to use the word hate, but strongly dislike or think that are definitely not superheroes, as we might say. Go ahead and dive into maybe one or two that you think that are like ouch, and then I'll tell you where I kind of wrecked and scratched my arm and now have a big scab because of this unsafe website that we've fallen across.
Well, there's two big ones, and hopefully I'm not going to steal your thunder, but as we look at the site, visually everything is very similar. So one of the things we talked about is, if you make everything the color red on a website, nothing is going to stand out. By the same token, if you make everything look super similar, I don't know where to go. And you've got these grayscale, blue scale. It's kind of like that, is the dress black and blue or gold and what? I don't know where to look. And the place my eye goes when I see this whole screen is down to the pictures at the bottom of the screen, because we know from neuroscience that people will pay attention to human faces more than anything else. And then what those pictures say to me is cheesy stock photography. Corporate cheesy stock photography. And so those are two things that I think are elements that, your job as a person who's designing a website, communicating your message, presenting in front of clients, presenting on social media, is to help people get to the heart of the matter as quickly as possible and let them know where they need to be paying attention to, what they need to be looking at, and guide them through the process of helping them solve their problem. And one, with the corporate photography, it makes me feel like I could be on any other site. And two, with everything being so similar, I feel like I'm been plopped in the middle of Disneyland without a map and I don't know where to go. I'm overwhelmed.
Yep, yeah, and I was gonna definitely, I want to just piggyback on these pictures. What these say down here to me, Don, is none of these people work here. That's what those pictures say, which is frustrating because stock photography, you could easily take some pictures of your own staff and put in there, and it would just amplify the site a lot better. But I actually had some different things I wanted to talk about, Don. I'm going to talk about two on a difficulty level,
Okay.
and then I'm going to talk about one on just a weird design, like it just freaks out my brain, and maybe it's because I'm one of those creatives that just my brain freaks out easy. I don't know, but here's the deal. Let's talk about this 1866 promo dot help up here. Listen, it's cute, but I got to figure out what the P, the R, the O, the M, the O, the H, the
Hmm.
E, the L, the P, what the heck that is just to call you. So this might be cool on a business card or something that I can physically look at as I'm calling. But what I can't do is I can't click on this and call you from my browser, which I'd love to do
Hmm.
now and just explain, hey, we're assessing your website. You might want to check in a couple days and see what we say about it. I can't even do that. You know, it's got to be simple. If they really want people to contact them, guess what? Novel thought. Use numbers. So I'm just saying, it's called a phone number, right? So it's cute, I get it, but I would definitely not do that on my website. I like where it's
And if
positioned. That's actually kind of
yeah,
a hero, which I might talk about a little bit later here. But here's the other thing, and this is on a difficulty level. I'm not even trying to read this crap down here under latest news, right? The fact that it's latest news equals Snoresville for me. And then trying to keep up with like a fake typewriter thing going across the screen because you knew that I wasn't going to pay attention to it because it said latest news to begin with still didn't work, right?
hmm,
Because I'm named board member to state a. So I mean, I can read faster than that. So now you're really messing me up. So those are my two things on an easy level. Like if you want to have latest news, just put the line in there. They don't have to
hmm.
type in, right? I just that to me, I'm about to have a seizure or something looking at this thing. So I'm gonna move on to the next thing, Don, and this is what kills me, right? I am a big advocate of consistency in design. And if you look at this slider, and we won't even talk about how sliders are dead and they shouldn't be on your website. Well, we just did talk about it, but we shouldn't talk about it because we talk about it every episode. But what I'm going to say is on one of these slides we get to that aren't actually graphical and kind of pleasing, where they get real white spacey again, you see that there's going to be kind of this arrow navigation, right? And so right here, more information, and it's got this nice arrow. I get that it's pointing that I should go there, and so I'm watching these slides and I'm interacting with it, and it gets to the next slide, and I feel sad because now the button has a flat. Somebody came and poked a hole in
Hmm.
it. The arrow's gone. I don't know if I'm supposed to click on it because it's not giving me the direction that was so blatantly obvious in the slide before there, right? And you get what I'm saying. I mean, I'm joking about it, but the idea is those buttons, they should be consistent across all
Hmm.
four of these slides if you're going to use that in the actual design. And I won't even go into that you have two graphical, really nice, well, I should be careful with that word really. You have two nice kind of picture product slides, and then you have two that are very kind of that off, that grayish, just a lot of text. And so there's a real disconnect there as well. So let's take the gloves off, Don. Let's actually talk about some good things we see. What are one or two good things that you see that Consolidus is doing here?
I think you pointed out to one of the heroes, which is the having that contact information in the upper right-hand corner of the site. One of the things I do want to piggyback on, though, one of the downsides to having on a non-print item like a website having words rather than numbers is I tell people to challenge themselves when they see this, when you see 1866 promo help, is try to call somebody from your smartphone looking for the letters, and it's not easy to do anymore. I mean, back in the day when you had the rotary phones, you had the phone that you could hold in your hand and just see right away where the letters are. That's not as simple to do. So that it's a hero in the sense that it's placed there, but it does need to be uh, put as a phone number rather than as a phone words. Another thing that they have it's it could be a bit more prominent, but they do have it, which is their social media activity. So on the left-hand side, below their secondary navigation, they do make it clear that they are on social. And I'm much more of a fan of find us on these networks rather than the word follow us. So I'm glad they put the word find. Follow us, again, it's kind of like what you started with. We don't have a relationship, so why am I going to follow you? I'm going to go to those properties to see what you do? Do you give me a better description of what it is you do? Do you show me that you provide good customer service and you're interactive on those tools? So I want to be able to find you, not necessarily follow you right away. We got to have a second or third date before we do that. But the idea that they have those fairly prominent, and that they appear in a place that that's pretty decent positioned, is another hero in my opinion. How about yourself?
Yeah, I've got two semi-heroes, and at first I got really excited because I thought I had like a big winner chicken dinner type hero, and then when I dug a little bit, I'm like, oh, poopy. It didn't work out as I planned. But so the first one that I think is a semi-hero is I love the fact that they have some kind of social proof here. So
Mm-hmm.
professional affiliations, I don't really know what that means for them or for their affiliations or really what it means for me, but I immediately know, oh, Goodwill, okay, and Greater Akron Chamber, okay, so I get that, right? And there's some, I just realized that there's some other people engaged with what they do, so that's good. The bad thing here is that you can't click into it, which is a bummer. Okay, I'd
Mm.
love for there to be more information about what being a professional affiliate means, or what are the benefits, or why are they? I mean, just things like that. Here's the other thing I got. This is the one that I got super excited though. If you look at these kind of are call to actions, right? So this says visit our information center. And you know me, Don, I'm into education centers, resource centers. Here's all my crap centers. I don't care what you call it, but like a place where you can easily get what it is that you're trying to find to solve that problem that you have.
Mm-hmm.
And so I'm like, oh, that's cool. I'm going to want to click on that. And then I even got excited. Ooh, schedule an online presentation. This is slick. Okay, sweet. And then, you get into careers, and I'm like, well, I'm not looking for a career. I don't even really know what you do. I don't really not sure if I want to work for you. And then, network login, whatever. Let's not even think about that. But these two I got excited about. And so I was like, okay, cool. I'm going to visit the information center. And I got here, and it's two things, which I'm like, okay, well, that's not bad. It's two things. And I was like, but I'm still thinking this is a good thing because they've got this link. And I know, Don, I know with all my heart, with all my inbound marketing heart, that I'm going to click on this link and I'm going to get to a landing page and I'm going to be able to fill out a form and I'm going to be able to get this white paper and they will have generated a new lead for their company. And here's what I do. I click on this, Don, and I get the contact us page. And
Mm-hmm.
immediately my BS meter goes up and I'm like, hold up a second. I got the contact us page for that. What's this mean? So if I go to the presentation, it's not a special presentation. It's any old presentation. Why is it any old presentation, Don? Because it got sent back to the contact us page. And here's why I say they're semi heroes. Don, they're almost there. Like they have the
Mm-hmm.
footprint built. They just need to change these links into actual lead conversion opportunities, and they would be super duper heroes. And then add maybe 3 or 4 more, and it'd be like they'd be the Justice League of lead generation at
Mm-hmm.
Consolidus. So those are kind of my big things that I love. Again, I do like the contact up here. Here's one thing I'll show you, Don, that I didn't quite understand about this site. They paid attention to code enough that if I roll over these logos, it'll say Council of Small Enterprise. And even like I can read this. This is Better Business Bureau. I knew that before I rolled over it, right? But however, this little unknown comedian guy up here that you hover over, I have no clue what this is. Like there's no text that tells me what this is. It's just a little, is it a map pinpoint? Is it actually a head with some shoulders? I have to actually click into it to realize, oh, it's a login or some type of send. What am I sending? Like, oh, a survey. What? Like I'm on the home page. There's this mysterious icon. I click on it and you want me to do something so you can serve me
Mm-hmm.
better because you don't even know me. Like anyway, all right. So
Absolutely.
this is supposed to be the good section, Don. So
Well, I think that what you're pointing out is there's a couple things that are close to good,
yep,
but but they're not across the finish line.
yep,
It's like I was explaining to a client yesterday that they were struggling with a few things, and I said, and they're in the sports arena, and it's like there's 4 quarters in a football game. what the game is won when it's the end of the fourth quarter. If you're assuming you don't go into overtime, of course, it's not won at the end of the first quarter or halftime or the third quarter. And when it comes to producing content, that was the context I was talking about it. Pushing publish is crossing one line, but it's not crossing the finish line. Then you have to make sure that you're paying attention to how you're promoting it, how people are engaging with it, making sure you have processes in place to make it as useful as it can be, to create as much interaction, as many leads, as much traffic as possible. And so the things that you pointed out are kind of that they're close, but and I really would want to emphasize, the one that you pointed out with the professional affiliations. When you have social proof icons like they have, if you can provide some context of what you do with those organizations, a short paragraph or two case study of what that affiliation means, I'm assuming that those are people that they work with. I'm totally taking a guess because I don't know if it's our clients or professional affiliations means that they produce professional products for them or what it is. But if whatever it is, provide some context, because like you said, there's some big names there. The Goodwill Industries, the Better Business Bureau, I mean, those are big, recognizable on a national level. And then if this is more of a regional level, some of those other organizations that they have might be things that people who are from looks like Ohio recognize. So give some context to those. Cross that finish line. Push yourself a little bit more, and those are definitely be big time heroes for you.
Yep. Now let me talk about one ultimate superhero, but he's a superhero in a closet. Okay. So we're on a page that's not the home page. We're on a page that is the info center. And Don, under these social icons that we talked about, there is this. Watch our video. 2 minutes. Play. A button with a play button. It says play. It says how long it is. It says it's a video. I blatantly know that if I value where I'm at and want to learn more, I can invest 2 minutes of time and watch a video. I click on that, and it goes to the video that I can watch it. Super, 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 super love that, right? But here's the deal, Don. Why did they wait till I got into the info center to be nice and helpful and show that they have 2 minutes of value, but on their homepage, they're shoving it down my throat as soon as I get on the page? I don't get it. They should just have that right here under those social icons on their homepage, and then that would have been the superhero of the day.
Absolutely. And when you look at if you do get people onto that page, it takes a little bit of work to get there, but there's some actions that they can take on that video page we were just on that they can't take here as well. So you're basically putting a few barriers in the way of people being able to take action in terms of what it is that you want them to do. And that's one of the biggest things. You need to remove those barriers. You need to make it easy for people to access, to connect, and don't force things on people, but if they choose to go down a path, make it easy for them to do. It's like what I like to call the Amazon effect. I think Amazon really, it's people who have Amazon Prime always talk about how helpful it is and how dangerous it is as well, because it's so stinking easy to use. You can make a decision really quickly, and people use it because it's so easy once you make a decision to be able to take an action, and here you can't do that.
Yep, absolutely. Well, Don, anything else that you wanted to hit upon while we're at this site?
If you can do one thing quick, go into the custom sites. And what I wanted to point out on just one of the internal pages is if you go into here, you're going to see content that's not helpful and doesn't give me any information, and the only thing you're doing is asking for a date. You're getting right away to that, the thing Joey Coleman would talk about, that you're pushing the relationship much faster than it should be pushed. And all of those sidebars where it says custom site, I look at this, I don't get it. When it's go to the reduced cost, same thing. There's just a little icon and brand management, creative services. There really isn't much there at all. It's just a simple little paragraph with some, images that look like some stock images, and all you're doing is not really helping me. You're pushing that I need to request more info. And so that's something too, is to think about those pages from a user perspective. What would be the content that would be of value to a user, explaining what you do, how it is you bring value to them, helping them determine if you're a good fit for them, and then say, do you want this free stuff? And that's where if they take the advice that you gave, they'll have an opt-in that allows them to download the ebook or to view an online presentation. So I think it's important just to recognize that on those internal pages, they all have very similar designs, that it's pretty low-hanging fruit. There's a consistent problem with each one of those pages. And so if you just take that approach of providing more context, I mean, if we were redesigning the site, I would immediately change all of those links that are there to things that actually make sense and are in English in terms of what they provide. But if they were to keep it as is, again, providing more value before you're asking somebody to schedule that online presentation or to request more info.
Let me piggyback on that a little bit. First of all, let me just say, if we were redesigning this site, I'd probably be ordering some dynamite, but that's a different subject. But here's the deal. Let me explain this real quick, is that if you look at this custom site, reduced cost, what you're having here is a conversation of how they help the customer. And it's a very small customer, or a very small conversation. But then this is what's funny is, so there's not a lot of value in these buttons, but boy, we sure do know how to talk about ourselves, Don, because this page is completely filled out with stuff. What do you think about that?
Nobody cares about you. It's everybody's tuned into that WIIFM, the What's in It for Me podcast network. We could say radio, but we're podcast maniacs. So, and again, people, I love the Joey Coleman approach of saying, think of it on a, you're forming a relationship, and especially in this particular case, this isn't a one and done sales. This is where you're looking to have an ongoing relationship of being able to produce items that are branded for a company, and this is a great opportunity to be a long relationship service provider. And you don't start out a long-term relationship by telling the other person all about you. You started out by listening to them and reflecting back and finding out if you're a good fit. And I think that is, if there's anything we've said on every one of these episodes, and I'll continue to preach until people really, they don't just hear it, but they actually act on it, is people don't care about you, they care about what you can do for them. And so frame everything in that context.
Yep, absolutely. Well, folks, here's the deal. You go out and make the internet a safer place, one website at a time. Your website, that's the one that you can control. Hey, and if you don't, we will, because we are the internet police of the Freebie Friday episode. He is, of course, Don Stanley at 3 Rhino Media. I am George V. Thomas at thesalesline.com, and you have just witnessed another smackdown of Freebie Friday. Have a good day.
Have a great week.